I was so sensitive as a child that my father called me a crybaby. I feel like it was around the dinner table with the rest of the family, and he was just making me feel worse about having what was probably a completely normal reaction to some flavor of verbal abuse or even threats of physical abuse. He's dead now, been dead for a while, and what I do remember is that I definitely did not cry at his funeral. He'd be so proud. Welcome back to Emergency Creative. My name is Krumbine, and yes, you found me right smack dab at the intersection of creative expression, creative process, and mental health. I've been waiting for you to get here, and I cannot tell you how happy I am you finally arrived. I do this every Sunday, so be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. By absolutely no stretch of the imagination was my father a good man. He also wasn't a terrible man, although, well, I suppose that could just be the Stockholm Syndrome speaking. He died, probably of a heart failure attack thing. I don't fucking know because we never found out, and he was only 55. And that 55 thing has it's actually become a little scary lately because I myself am currently a breath away from 40. My father's entire lifespan was only 15 years longer than where I am right now. I mean, fuck. Anyway, the way I prefer to remember him, aside from being the primary source of my fucked up brain chemistry, the man was an undiagnosed walking billboard for what we used to call Asperger's, and now we just understand to be high masking or otherwise autism. But the way I prefer to remember him is that right at the end, he was actually learning how to empathize and understand me as a human being and not just this thing he created to do chores around the house. I like to remember this specific detail because if my father had stayed alive just a little bit longer, I'd like to think that we might have maybe ended up having a good relationship. You know, one where my father wasn't calling me a crybaby. And if he was, maybe it was a tender moment where it said facetiously between the gasps of his own sobs as we wrap our arms around each other in the loving embrace of father and son. No, you are the crybaby. A point of bringing all of this up is that as I get further along into this new YouTube channel, more and more hateful comments keep popping up. This also is happening in conjunction with one of my favorite commenters. I did that whole Angry Hulk video for the guy. This commenter ended up deleting his YouTube channel because of harassment. Seriously, in the week that it took to write, produce, schedule, and publish that video response, this guy went from being committed to authentically enjoying his YouTube experience and laughing at his comment trolls to quite literally being bullied right off the platform. And my heart broke later when I told the story to a friend, sharing how this YouTuber's comment really fucking picked me up over New Year's. And by the time I got through all the shitty, nitty gritty details, both my friend and I were both, we were both choked up because, one, it was a shitty thing that hit close to home, our creative community. And, well, you have to be a pretty shitty human not to feel empathy for our fellow humans. And two, the other reason we got choked up, my friend and I are just a couple of crybabies, I guess. Maybe my father wouldn't be so proud of me after all. When my ex's father was dying of cancer, I was there to support my then partner and offer whatever support I could for the rest of the family. I've been in those situations before. They are difficult. One of the most emotionally challenging experiences we can endure, and one that inevitably we all will endure at some point in our lives or another. And even though I wasn't directly related to, nor did I have any particularly close relationship with the rest of her family, when my ex and I finally got a moment to ourselves towards the end of the whole thing, we were getting dinner at an Olive Garden, and I remember just breaking down in tears from the emotional weight of the whole experience, to the point where my ex was sitting across the table from me, dry-eyed, and looking at me like I was from another planet. My father definitely would not have been proud. I am an extremely sensitive person. My creative instincts and creative pursuits and creative career make that sensitivity, makes it a liability. Because as plainly as I explained in my 1-star review video, that viewer comments are absolutely fucking everything, that reviewers are taking an artist's soul in their hands with every stroke of their keyboard, despite how plainly that was explained, the comment trolls persisted. I mean, because that's the nature of the internet, right? So what are you going to do about it? But honestly, it's a really fucking weird dichotomy, this specifically this whole YouTube thing, because my niche audience, creators who do creative things, as opposed to creators for whom creativity is perhaps a side effect of the whole YouTube or capitalism process, that niche audience, you, my friends, you all seem to implicitly understand what it is I am talking about. Over and over and over again, you guys validate this creative hypothesis, no matter how cynical, nihilistic, or angry my videos may ultimately skew. But beyond that core niche audience, well, as Save That Money 411, a YouTube account with a grand total of 0 published videos, as they put it in a response to the 1-star review video, quote, I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about my shit. Unquote. Yeah? Pretty much. I mean, it's a little reductive, but I guess what do you expect from comment trolls in 2025? Probably the same person who voted for Trump because of the cost of eggs. And look, I bring that up for a very, very fucking specific reason. People are fucking stupid. And it's just gonna break my heart even further to try and fathom the sheer depths of their stupidity. Yes, yes, I am an artist and I am sensitive about my shit. That is what makes an artist an artist. That's kind of the whole point of this channel. That's kind of the whole reason you are listening to me tell stories about sobbing uncontrollably at an Olive Garden over someone else's dead father. Oh fuck. Wow. Yeah, I just made that connection. I didn't cry for my own dead father because there was no relationship there, but when my ex's father died, with whom she had an incredibly close relationship with, it fucking wrecked me because it was the loss of something I wanted so desperately, something I held in such profound regard. Fuck. Wow. Okay. Um, anyway, emotional breakthroughs aside, this is why we are here to support, to validate, and to encourage our mutual creative sparks. And I'd say that's specific to our happy creative niche, but Jesus, fuck, isn't that kind of just core to the human condition? So the comment trolls who miss this point entirely, this abject failure of empathy, in other words, total apathy on the comment trolls' behalf, and instead they're constantly engaging in embarrassing acts of online bullying. Good fucking Lord, what is wrong with you people? One final note on being entirely too sensitive for YouTube. That if you are still watching, I sincerely hope you can relate to. This sensitivity is our blessing and our curse. This rampant empathy we can't help but feel all the fucking time. This is what elevates our art. We create because we feel. And because we feel so powerfully, we create. People without empathy, the comment trolls and the assholes that bullied my friend off YouTube, they will never understand because they are incapable of understanding. And apparently, sadly, they have no fucking desire to understand. So it's not a failure of communication. Some people as we're all learning lately, some people are just pieces of shit. And yeah, I am very sensitive about my shit. You should try it one day. Maybe it'll fucking change your life. You know, I'm still learning at the cusp of 40 years old. I'm still learning to accept this ridiculously oversensitive part of my soul. I struggled with it for a very long time. Still do, to one extent or another. It still fucking causes all kinds of problems in my professional creative career. Thanks, Dad. But I struggled with it so much that I ended up creating the worst superhero with the worst superpower in basically the history of ever. Abraham Owens has super empathy, and it absolutely cripples him when he is around other people. The only thing that takes the edge off is booze, like dump truck quantities of booze. So, interesting superpower, which is totally useless in execution. Oh, and by the way, there's an alt-right conspiracy to take over his city. But really, this book was a way for me to explore and subsequently share what it was like to live in a world while being a giant crybaby. The book is called Abraham Owens is Punched, Drunk, and All Out of Fucks. You can learn more about it on my website, and you can listen to the audiobook version right here on YouTube. Just, you know, be nice in the comments. Or don't, I guess. I'll probably have a cry about it either way. Until next week, stay creative.